Welcome back to my channel, The Coins World. Today, we will dive into the fascinating history of the Philippine 25 centimo 2013 coin. Though small in size and value, this coin carries with it a long story tied to the Philippines' cultural identity, economy, and evolving numismatic heritage. By the end of this video, you'll realize why even a simple coin like this deserves deep respect and curiosity. So, let's explore the incredible journey of the 25 centimo 2013. The 25 centimo coin has been part of Philippine coinage since the early days of the Republic, but the 2013 issue belongs to the new generation currency, NGC series, which the Banco Central ng Pilipinas (BSP) introduced to modernize the country's coinage. This coin is often overlooked because of its small denomination, yet it carries a wealth of history and symbolism worth discussing. The 2013 series was launched to address the challenges of counterfeit coins, provide updated security features, and ensure that Filipino currency reflected the nation's modern aspirations. Unlike its predecessors, the 25 centimo 2013 coin was designed with simplicity and uniformity in mind, matching the rest of the new generation coins. Made from nickel-plated steel, the coin is lightweight but durable. The change in composition was strategic, aiming to reduce production costs while ensuring long-lasting circulation. Earlier issues of 25 centimo coins were often made of copper or brass, but the shift to nickel-plated steel showed the government's intent to adapt to global coinage standards. On its obverse, the coin features the denomination 25 centimo and the year of minting, along with the inscription Republica ng Pilipinas. This minimalistic approach was meant to create consistency across the coin family, making it easier for citizens to recognize and use them. The reverse of the coin bears the image of the stylized Philippine flag's sun with its rays, a powerful emblem of freedom and independence. This choice of design reflects national pride and ties the coin to the broader theme of unity and resilience of the Filipino people. What makes the 25 centimo 2013 interesting is not just its face value but the fact that it represents a transitional phase in Philippine currency. It symbolizes the nation's movement into a new era of financial systems, technological improvements, and global recognition of its currency. During 2013, the Philippines was undergoing rapid economic growth, and the modernization of coins and banknotes was part of that progress. The 25 centimo coin circulated widely in markets, small shops, jeepneys, and sari-sari stores, becoming a common companion in the daily lives of Filipinos. A Filipino life. Coins World. Today we are going to take a fascinating journey into the history of the Philippine 1 piso coin from the year 2010, a piece that not only carries the face value of the national currency but also holds the echoes of the country's past, its struggles, its triumphs, and its continuing evolution in the modern world. The 1 piso 2010 coin belongs to the new generation currency coin series, a pivotal series that symbolizes modernization while staying deeply rooted in the Philippines' history and identity. The 2010 1 piso coin features the iconic portrait of José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines, whose life and writings inspired the movement for independence during Spanish rule. The decision to keep Rizal on the 1 piso denomination demonstrates the coin's role as a circulating reminder of patriotism, education, and the pursuit of freedom. It was designed to instill national pride in every Filipino who used it in daily transactions, linking everyday life to the country's historical narrative. When the 1 piso coin was released in 2010, the Philippines was undergoing numerous changes: economic, political, and cultural. This coin was a part of the broader monetary reforms by the Banco Central ng Pilipinas (BSP) aimed at strengthening the economy and modernizing the country's currency system. Unlike earlier issues, the 2010 piso emphasized durability, resistance to counterfeiting, and ease of recognition for the public. The material used in the 2010 1 piso coin was nickel-plated steel, a practical choice that provided strength, longevity, and a silvery appearance that distinguished it from lower denominations like the centimo series. This decision also reflected the government's concern for cost efficiency in minting coins that would endure heavy daily use. On the obverse side, José Rizal's portrait is prominently displayed, accompanied by the words Republica ng Pilipinas and the year of minting, 2010. The reverse side carries the denomination 1 piso along with the official seal of the Banco Central ng Pilipinas. These design choices combine both national identity and institutional authority, symbolizing a balance between heritage and governance. The introduction of the 2010 peso also aligned with the Philippines' continued participation in global trade and tourism. Coins like this, although often overlooked, become silent ambassadors of the country's culture to foreigners who encounter them. They serve not only as mediums of exchange but also as carriers of national stories, traditions, and values. One fascinating aspect of the 2010 1 peso coin is its place within the transition of Philippine coinage. Prior to its release, coins bore different stylings, but this series began a shift toward more modern and uniform designs. Collectors today see the 2010 peso as an important marker of that transition, making it more than just a coin but also a collectible that tells the story of change. The introduction of the 2010 peso also aligned with the Philippines' continued participation in global trade and tourism. Coins like this, although often overlooked, become silent ambassadors of the country's culture to foreigners who encounter them. They serve not only as mediums of exchange but also as carriers of national stories, traditions, and values. One fascinating aspect of the 2010 1 peso coin is its place within the transition of Philippine coinage. Prior to its release, coins bore different stylings, but this series began a shift toward more modern and uniform designs. Collectors today see the 2010 peso as an important marker of that transition, making it more than just a coin but also a collectible that tells the story of change. The coin also highlights the respect and reverence the Philippines holds for Jose Rizal. Placing him on the 1 peso coin ensures that millions of Filipinos are reminded of his ideals each day. Rizal's legacy, encapsulated in this small piece of metal, serves as a constant nudge toward unity, courage, and sacrifice for the betterment of the nation. During this period, the Philippine economy was growing steadily and the BSP's decision to maintain strong, durable coinage mirrored the drive to strengthen the country's financial institutions. A robust monetary system required coins that could withstand circulation for years without deterioration, and the 2010 peso was crafted precisely with this in mind. Interestingly, while most people used the 2010 peso coin for daily transactions, coin collectors began recognizing its importance. In numismatic circles, these coins were often valued for their role in the evolution of Philippine currency rather than for rarity. However, pristine uncirculated versions and error coins from the 2010 series have occasionally caught the attention of collectors, fetching higher than face value in auctions and online sales. The production quality of the 2010 peso also reflected the BSP's effort to standardize coin sizes and appearances. This helped reduce confusion among the public and ensured that vending machines. Centimo coin of 1968, a small yet historically rich coin that carries not only monetary but also cultural and symbolic value. At first glance, it may appear like a simple piece of copper-nickel alloy, but when you dive deeper into its story, you uncover layers of history, economy, design, and national identity. This coin is more than change in the palm of your hand. It is a miniature time capsule of the Philippines during a significant era of transition. The 1968 10 centimo coin belongs to the English series, one of the longest-running and most widely circulated coinage series in Philippine history. Introduced after World War II, the English series carried inscriptions in English, reflecting the Philippines' historical ties with the United States. The year 1968 sits right in the middle of this period, making the coin a fascinating study of a nation caught between colonial influence and a drive toward independence in identity. The coin's obverse features the Philippine coat of arms, a proud emblem of sovereignty and strength. It shows the sun with its 8 rays, representing the first provinces that revolted against Spanish rule, and the 3 stars for Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. This was not a random design choice, it was a deliberate reminder of the unity and resilience of the Filipino people. Even in the smallest denominations of currency, on the reverse, we find the denomination inscribed, along with the year of minting 1968. The clarity and precision of the coin's engravings speak volumes about the craftsmanship and intent to highlight national pride. Though modest in size, its symbolism was immense, reminding every Filipino of their shared heritage every time they held it. The year 1968 itself was a period of change and challenges for the Philippines. Under the administration of President Ferdinand Marcos, the country was navigating modernization while also facing political and economic turbulence. Coins like the 10 centimo became everyday companions of citizens, circulating through markets, transport fairs, and daily transactions, silently narrating the story of ordinary lives during an extraordinary period. This coin was struck in copper-nickel, a practical choice meant to withstand daily circulation. Its durability reflects the resilience of the Filipino people who, much like their currency, endured wear and tear but remained strong through the decades. The 10 centimo might have had little purchasing power, but its role in everyday trade and economy was undeniable. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1968 10 centimo coin is its connection to the broader historical journey of Philippine coinage. After the English series coins would gradually shift to the Filipino series, marking a stronger cultural identity by replacing English with the national language. Thus, this coin stands at a transitional stage, bridging colonial influence with the assertion of Filipino pride. Collectors today find the 196810 centimo to be a fascinating piece not because of its metallic value but because of the story it tells. It is a reminder of the country's evolving identity, of its people's everyday struggles and triumphs, and of the artistry that goes into something as ordinary as coinage. The coin size may be small, but the historical impact it carries is massive. Every scratch, every worn edge tells us about the hands it passed through: farmers in the provinces, jeepney drivers in the city, children buying sweets, and families saving up in jars. It is a true witness of Filipino life in the late 1960s. Some versions of this coin remain in circulation among collectors, though in heavily worn condition. Pristine examples are rare, and those that still shine with their original mint luster are highly prized. The rarity factor increases when coins have errors, such as misstrikes, off-centering, or unusual metal quality. The symbolism of the coat of arms and the national elements is worth emphasizing again. For a young nation continually affirming its place on the global stage, embedding national pride in coins was a way of solidifying identity. The 10 centimo coin of 1968 is a tangible reminder of that effort. Economically, during 1968, the 10 centimo had small but notable purchasing power. It could buy candies, a portion of transportation fare, or a local newspaper. For families of modest means, every centimo counted, making this coin a critical part of daily survival and household budgeting. In global numismatic circles, Philippine coins from the English series attract significant attention because they highlight the Philippines' unique colonial and post-colonial history. Collectors from abroad often seek out coins like the 196810 centimo for their historical value. One could say this coin is an unsung hero of Philippine currency. Unlike the larger denominations, which often get celebrated, the small centimo coins carried just as much history. They traveled farther, touched more hands, and bore more stories of the common Filipino than their larger counterparts. Over time, the 10 centimo denomination would lose much of its purchasing power due to inflation, but its memory remains preserved in collections and historical accounts. The 1968 edition captures a very particular snapshot of a nation, balancing tradition, modernity, and cultural identity. For coin enthusiasts, finding a well-preserved 196810 centimo is like holding a piece of living history. It connects you directly to the Philippines of the 1960s, a decade of change, modernization, and complexity. The aesthetic design of the coin is also worth admiration. Its modest yet precise engravings highlight the skill of the minting process at the time, reflecting attention to detail despite its low face value. Some families still hold onto these coins. Centimo coin of 1972. Though it may seem like just a tiny coin, its story connects to the nation's culture, economy, and history in powerful ways. Let's explore this fascinating coin in depth. The 10 centimo coin of 1972 belongs to the second series of coins issued by the Central Bank of the Philippines after the country gained independence. It was part of the AMG Bagong Lipunan, the New Society program, launched during the presidency of Ferdinand Marcos. This era emphasized nationalism, economic reform, and new symbols of progress. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of Francisco Baltasar, also known as Francisco Balagtas, the great Filipino poet often called the Prince of Tagalog poets. His most famous work, Florandi at Laura, is a cornerstone of Philippine literature. By placing Balagtas on the 10 centimo, the government highlighted the importance of culture and identity. The reverse side of the coin carried the seal of the Central Bank of the Philippines, Banco Central ng Pilipinas, symbolizing monetary stability and authority. The inclusion of the central bank seal was meant to assure Filipinos of the credibility of their money during a time of political and economic transition. This coin was minted in copper-nickel-clad steel, giving it durability and a silvery appearance. At just 10 centimos, its value was modest, but it served millions of Filipinos daily for small transactions such as jeepney fares, candies, newspapers, and other essentials. The year 1972 was also significant because it was the same year Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law in the Philippines. Coins like the 10 centimo became silent witnesses to a turbulent chapter in Philippine history, circulating in the hands of ordinary citizens during an era of political control and economic challenges. Placing balagtas on the coin was no accident. Marcos wanted to promote Filipino nationalism, and balagtas represented the voice of the Filipino people, their struggles, and their dreams for freedom. In a way, the coin was not just currency but also a political and cultural message. The coin was small, light, and often overlooked, yet it was part of everyday Filipino life. For children, it meant a chance to buy sweets or toys. For workers, it was part of their fare or small savings. For collectors, it was an artifact, carrying symbols of an evolving nation. The design of the coin was created under the supervision of the Central Bank's Currency Management Committee, with input from Filipino historians and artists. Their aim was to balance practicality with cultural symbolism, ensuring the coin would resonate with the people. In terms of dimensions, the 1972 10 centimo coin was 17 millimeters in diameter and very lightweight. Its modest size reflected its low purchasing. Coins like the 10 centimo also served an educational purpose. By featuring historical figures like balagtas, they introduced young Filipinos to national heroes and icons, making the currency not just a medium of exchange but a tool for learning. Interestingly, the 1972 10 centimo was part of a wider reorganization of Philippine coinage. The central bank gradually replaced older designs with new ones that better reflected the Bagong Lipunan ideology, where economic reform and nationalism were central themes. The coin circulated widely throughout the 1970s and 1980s. Though its value was small, it remained an essential part of everyday commerce, especially in local markets where every centavo counted. From a collector's perspective, the 10 centimo 1972 is highly symbolic. While not rare in circulation, well-preserved specimens in uncirculated condition are sought after by numismatists, particularly those specializing in Philippine coinage during the martial law period. The coin also highlights the influence of Spanish heritage on Philippine culture. Balagtas wrote in Tagalog during the Spanish colonial period, showing the resilience of Filipino identity despite centuries of foreign rule. His presence on the coin was a nod to cultural pride. During the early 1970s, inflation was slowly rising and the value of smaller coins like the 10 centimo began to diminish. Still, these coins were indispensable for daily trade and continued to be minted in large quantities. Some numismatists note that the 1972 10 centimo represents a transitional coin, bridging the gap between the old pre-design, moving away from the old Filipino series of the 1970s and early 1980s and ushering in a new look that combined Philippine national heroes with elements of the country's rich natural heritage. The obverse of the 1991 piece features the portrait of José Rizal, the country's national hero whose writings and martyrdom played a crucial role in sparking the Philippine Revolution against Spain. Rizal had been a central figure in Philippine coinage since the first Republic-era coins, but in the Flora and Fauna series, his portrait was modernized, showing a refined engraving that symbolized the updated style of the late 20th century. Around Rizal's portrait is the inscription, Republica ng Pilipinas, along with the year of minting, 1990. This placement emphasizes national identity and pride while keeping the focus on Rizal's enduring legacy. On the reverse side of the coin, the Philippine tamaraw Bubulus mindorensis is depicted. The tamaraw is a critically endangered dwarf buffalo species endemic to Mindoro Island. The decision to feature this animal was deeply symbolic. At the time, the Philippines was highlighting its biodiversity and raising awareness about conservation, and the tamaraw stood as a powerful representation of the country's unique and threatened wildlife. Along with the animal, the reverse carries the denomination 1 piso in bold lettering, making the coin easily recognizable. The coin was struck in copper nickel, a durable alloy widely used in circulation. Coins of that era, with a diameter of 28 millimeters and a weight of around 8.7 grams. The 1990 issue was quite large compared to the smaller coins of today. Its size and metallic composition gave it a solid substantial feel in the hand, a characteristic many Filipinos still recall nostalgically. Economically, the 1990 piso had significant purchasing power compared to the present day. In 1991, piso could buy items like jeepney fares, small snacks, or basic household goods. It was a coin heavily used in everyday life, circulating widely in markets, schools, and public transportation. Historically, 1990 was also a notable year for the Philippines. The country was under the presidency of Corazon Aquino, who had come into power after the 1986 People Power Revolution. The economy was in recovery, and inflation was a concern. But coins like the 1 piso remained vital in daily transactions. The BSP was in the process of modernizing its currency system, and coins, like the 1990 piso, reflected both national pride and practical use. Collectors today see the 19901 piso as a 1985. The Philippines was still under the administration of President Ferdinand E. Marcos, who had been in power since 1965. The nation was experiencing significant political tension, economic challenges, and growing calls for reform. The Central Bank of the Philippines, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, BSP, was responsible for issuing the country's coinage, which reflected the economic and cultural identity of the nation. The 1985 1 piso coin belonged to the Flora and Fauna series, a set of coins introduced in 1983 to replace the previous Ng Bagong Lipunan ABL series. This series aimed to showcase the country's natural heritage, featuring plants, flowers, and animals alongside notable Filipino heroes. The engraving was sharp and detailed, reflecting advances in minting technology of the period. The reverse shows the Philippine coconut palm, Cocos nucifera, a plant deeply tied to Philippine agriculture, economy, and culture. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas encircling the top. The value 1 piso prominently at the center. The coconut tree represents the versatility and economic importance of the Philippines. Agricultural products. The coin was minted in large quantities by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and, in some cases, through contracted mints abroad for efficiency. The copper-nickel alloy was chosen for durability and resistance to corrosion in the humid, tropical climate of the Philippines. 1985. The Philippine peso faced inflationary pressures due to political unrest and a weakening economy. The value of the peso was declining compared to major foreign currencies, making coins like the 1 piso more common for everyday, small transactions rather than large purchases. At the time, Philippine peso 1 could still buy small snacks, jeepney fares, or a loaf of bread, quite different from today's purchasing power. The 1 piso, 1985 coin was part of a broader effort to promote national pride. Each denomination in the series carried an image of an important plant or animal species, pairing it with a hero to symbolize the richness of both Philippine history and nature. 1985 1 piso remained in circulation until the BSP launched the BSP series in 1991, which replaced the Flora and Fauna designs with new ones. January 2, 1998, the BSP demonetized the Flora and Fauna coins, meaning they were no longer legal tender. However, they remain collectible today, especially in uncirculated or proof condition. Common circulated condition, low numismatic value, often 10 to 20 Philippine pesos for average worn coins. Uncirculated condition can fetch higher prices, Philippine peso 50 to 150, depending on mint state and rarity of strike. Proof or mint error coins, these can be more valuable, especially if they show doubling, MIS strikes, or off-center minting. Collectors often seek the 1985 issue because it is among the later years of the Flora and Fauna. 1 piso before the redesign. The 19851 piso is more than just an old coin, it's a small piece of Philippine history. It represents the artistry of coin design during the Marcos era. 1 piso coin minted in 1985 came at a turbulent time in Philippine history. President Ferdinand Marcos had been in power for 2 decades, and the country was under heavy political strain. The assassination of opposition leader Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr. in 1983 had intensified public dissent, leading to a period of uncertainty. The economy was struggling, and inflation was slowly eroding the value of the peso. 1983. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, BSP, made the decision to retire the Ng Bagong Lipunan ABL coinage series, which had been closely tied to the Marcos era political slogan New Society. The replacement, the Flora and Fauna series, was meant to focus less on politics and more on national pride. celebrating the Philippines' rich biodiversity, while still honoring national heroes. Jose Acute Rizal, featured on the 1985 1 Piso obverse, was not a new face in Philippine coinage. His image had appeared on multiple peso coins since the 1960s. By keeping Rizal on the largest base denomination coin, the BSP ensured that the country's most revered hero remained part of daily transactions. His presence reinforced ideals of education, patriotism, and reform. The reverse design featuring the coconut tree was more than aesthetic. In the 1980s, coconuts were a major export commodity for the Philippines, especially in the form of copra and coconut oil. The tree's versatility, providing food, drink, shelter, and raw materials, symbolized the resilience and resourcefulness of the Filipino people. The coin's copper-nickel composition was chosen for durability, but there was also an economic factor. Rising metal prices meant the BSP had to balance durability with cost efficiency. Copper-nickel alloys provided a silvery appearance while resisting corrosion in the Philippines' humid climate. Back then, the 1 Piso coin had substantial purchasing power. In Manila, 1 peso could pay for a short jeepney ride, buy a small serving of halo-halo, or get a pack of chewing gum. In rural areas, it could cover the price of fresh produce or a newspaper. It was truly a workhorse denomination, pairing a hero with a plant. The Flora and Fauna series, visually tied together two major pillars of the Philippines' identity, its human legacy and its natural heritage. The 19851 PISO reinforced this connection every time it exchanged hand. While the coin looked impressive, the value of the peso was slowly declining. In the 1980s, the government faced debt crises, and the exchange rate against the US dollar weakened. This economic reality meant that coins like the 1 Piso began to be used for smaller, everyday items rather than medium value. 2012. This coin represented a significant modernization in Philippine currency, reflecting new designs, security features, and a move towards more durable and efficient coinage. The release of the 2012 coin, the Philippines used the BSP series coins, which had been in circulation since 1995. These earlier coins were heavier, had a different metallic composition, and carried designs that the BSP wanted to update to better represent the nation's symbols and heritage. By 2011, the BSP aimed to introduce a unified, modern coin series that would be more secure, cost-effective, and easier to recognize. The introduction of the new generation currency coin series, the NGC coins, were launched to coincide with the BSP's new banknote series, ensuring design harmony. The 1 Piso 2012 coin was one of the first to be minted and distributed. It featured updated artwork, new fonts, and a fresh metallic finish that distinguished it from the older series. The obverse side of the 2012 1 Piso coin prominently features Jose Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. His portrait is sharper and more refined compared to previous versions. Other elements on the obverse include a large bold denomination 1 Piso at the center, the wailing Vanda sanderiana, an orchid species native to the Philippines, known as the Queen of Philippine Flowers for its beauty and rarity. The scientific name of the plant printed below the image. Fine details in the floral illustration, emphasizing national biodiversity. 2012 1 Piso coin is composed of nickel-plated steel, chosen for its durability and resistance to tarnish. The wailing orchid highlights the country's rich natural heritage and biodiversity. The use of both historical and natural symbols aimed to balance patriotism with environmental pride. 2012 1 Piso coin entered everyday transactions quickly and became one of the most commonly used coins in the country for small purchases, public transportation fares, and market transactions. Its bright silver appearance and slightly smaller size compared to older coins helped it stand out in wallets and cash registers. When first released, the new design received mixed reactions. Many praised its modern look and the tribute to national symbols, while some criticized it for being too similar in size to other denominations, which could cause confusion. Over time, however, Filipinos became familiar with its distinct features. 2012 1 Piso coin is generally common. Uncirculated or mint-condition pieces can be of interest to collectors, especially first-year issues of the NGC series. Coins with minting errors such as following, including 2013. This series replaced the BSP coin series, issued from 1995 to 2017 for some denominations, with a modern, unified design that incorporated updated security features, lighter weight metals, and themes that showcase the country's rich history and natural heritage. Before 2011, the BSP noticed that the smaller denominations, especially centavo coins, were underused or often hoarded and melted for scrap because of rising metal prices. The new series aimed to reduce production costs by using cheaper metal alloys, modernize the national currency design, and promote national symbols. By 2013, the NGC coins were in full production, including the 10 centimo, which had a fresh look compared to previous decades. Issues. The 10 centimo 2013 coin featured a minimalist yet symbolic design, the denomination 10 centimo prominently displayed. The official seal of the Banco Central NG Philippine is updated in 2010 to a modern look, smooth edges unlike earlier reeded designs of past coins. To make the coin cost-effective, the BSP used nickel-plated steel for the 10 centimo. This metal was durable, rust-resistant, and less expensive than the copper-based alloys of older coins. The coin had a small diameter, around 17 millimeters, and was very lightweight, making it the smallest denomination in the NGC series. 2013, inflation had significantly reduced the purchasing power of the 10 centimo coin. It was primarily used for exact change in supermarkets, public transportation fare adjustments, and utility bill payments. Despite its limited buying power, the coin remained essential for accounting purposes and was legally required to be accepted as part of exact payments. The inclusion of the Kappa plant was part of the BSP's initiative to highlight native flora on lower denomination coins. This plant is known for its striking pink bracts and flowers, symbolizing beauty and natural pride. It also reflected the Philippines' commitment to biodiversity preservation, as the coin series featured native plants on smaller denominations and native fauna on higher coins. The year 2013 was significant for the BSP because it was in the early stages of completely transitioning to the NGC coin series. During this time, the mint faced challenges in public education about the new designs, as many Filipinos initially found the new coins too similar in color and size. While the 2013 10 centimo is not rare in circulated condition, uncirculated and proof-like specimens are sought by collectors. These coins have value mainly for numismatic completeness, especially for those building full-year sets of the NGC series. Certain error coins from 2013, such as off-center strikes or misaligned dies, can fetch. Series replaced the NG Bagong Lipunan, a BL series that had been circulating since the mid-1970s. The goal of this change was not only monetary but also symbolic, reflecting a new national identity, rooted in the appreciation of Philippine biodiversity and heritage. The Banco Central NG Pilipinas BSP wanted to emphasize the richness of the Philippines' natural environment, so they placed native plants and animals on the coins. This was a shift from earlier coins, which usually bore only political or historical figures. The obverse of the 1983 50 centimo coin carries the portrait of Marcelo H. del Pilar, a revolutionary writer, journalist, and one of the leading propagandists in the movement for Philippine independence during the Spanish colonial era. His inclusion symbolized freedom of speech, courage, and national identity. Around his portrait is inscribed Republica NG Pilipinas and the year of minting, 1983. The reverse side depicts the image of the wailing orchid Vanda Sanderiana, a flower native to Mindanao, often called the Queen of Philippine Orchids. This orchid was chosen to highlight the country's rich flora and promote conservation awareness. Below the flower is the denomination 50 centimo. The coin was made of copper nickel, which gave it a silvery appearance, unlike earlier centimo coins that were bronze-colored. 198350. Centimo coins circulated widely in the Philippine economy throughout the 1980s. At that time, 50 centavos still held significant purchasing power. One could buy small items like candies, snacks, or even part of jeepney fares with it. By the late 1980s and into the 1990s, however, the coin's value began to diminish due to inflation, and it slowly became less commonly used in everyday transactions. Marcelo H. del Pilar's legacy, his image on the coin, reinforced national pride, reminding Filipinos of their fight for independence and intellectual freedom. Del Pilar's writings in La Solidaridad played a crucial role in the propaganda movement against Spanish rule. The coin also symbolized the government's attempt to connect the Filipino people to their natural environment. By featuring the wailing, the coin raised awareness of the Philippines as a biodiversity hotspot. Economic transition period. The early 1980s was a turbulent economic period for the Philippines, marked by debt crises and political unrest leading up to the DSA People Power Revolution of 1986. Coins from this period serve as reminders of both economic hardship and resilience. 1983 50 centimo. Coin is no longer in active circulation, having been demonetized along with other coins of the Flora and Fauna series when the BSP introduced the new design series NDS in the. While not extremely rare, its historical significance and design make it a popular piece among collectors of Philippine coinage. The Flora and Fauna series, launched in 1983, was a major redesign of Philippine currency. Unlike earlier series that primarily featured national heroes and political figures, this series emphasized two elements: heroes of independence and symbols of Philippine biodiversity. This was an effort by the Central Bank of the Philippines to create coins that were uniquely Filipino, celebrating both the country's past struggles and its natural riches. Why 1983 was important. The year 1983 marked not only the introduction of this coin series but also a turbulent period in Philippine history. Inflation was rising, debt levels were high, and political unrest was brewing. At the same time, the government sought to create a sense of national identity and pride. The release of coins featuring plants and animals was a symbolic move to reinforce patriotism. The obverse of the 50 centimo coin features Marcello H. del Pilar, 1850–1896, a towering figure in the propaganda movement. He was a lawyer, journalist, and writer who became one of the fiercest critics of Spanish colonial abuse. Known for his sharp wit, del Pilar wrote biting essays and editorials that exposed the injustices of the friars and Spanish officials. His role in La Solidaridad. When del Pilar moved to Spain in 1888, he became the editor of La Solidaridad, the newspaper of the Filipino expatriate community fighting for reform. Through its pages, he demanded freedom of speech, representation in the Spanish Cortes, and the secularization of parishes. His efforts laid the intellectual groundwork for the Philippine Revolution. Del Pilar's exile and death. Unfortunately, his years in Spain were marked by poverty and illness. He died in Barcelona in 1896, just months before the revolution broke out. Despite his tragic end, del Pilar is remembered as a true patriot whose pen became his weapon. His presence on the 50 centimo coin reminds Filipinos that national freedom was built on both intellectual resistance and sacrificeth. Wailing orchid, queen of Philippine orchids. The reverse of the coin depicts the wailing Banda Sanderiana, one of the most beautiful and rare orchids in the world. Native to Mindanao, this flower grows in the rainforests of Davao, often clinging to tall trees. Known for its large, colorful, and striking blooms, it is considered a national treasure in Philippine botany, symbol of national pride. Choosing the wailing for the 50 centimo coin was not random. Orchids were already globally recognized for their rarity and beauty, and the wailing stood out as a symbol of Filipino pride. It was called the Queen of Philippine Orchids, admired both by local communities and international. HORTICULTURISTS. Conservation significance. By the 1980s, the wailing was already threatened by overcollection and habitat loss. Featuring it on the coin was also a reminder of the need to protect. 1972. By 1984, the Marcos administration was heavily emphasizing reforms and nationalism, and coinage became one of the tools to reflect this vision. The coin's obverse features Andres Bonifacio, the revolutionary leader who organized the Katipunan. While Jose Rizal is often celebrated as the intellectual hero, Bonifacio represents the fighter, the man of action, and the working-class voice of revolution. Putting Bonifacio on one of the highest value coins of the series was no accident. It symbolized courage, unity, and the people's power values Marcos wanted his regime associated with. Even if ironically, the Philippines was under authoritarian rule at the uniqueness of the Piso, the 19842 Piso was one of the largest and heaviest circulation coins ever minted in the Philippines. At 38 millimeters and about 17 grams, it felt almost like a commemorative medal. This was intentional. It made the coin feel valuable, durable, and symbolic of stability at a time when the peso was actually losing value. The reverse carried the coat of arms of the Republic of the Philippines as it appeared under Marcos. It included the inscription Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Its placement was political. It projected the authority of the state, reinforcing the image that the government remained strong despite widespread protests and international criticism. The timing of the coin's circulation is crucial. The early 1980s, brought severe economic hardship. The Philippines was facing one of the worst debt crises in Asia. 1983. The assassination of Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr. shocked the world, deepened political unrest, and triggered capital flight. Inflation soared, unemployment rose and the peso weakened. High denomination coin. The 2 peso of 1984 entered circulation in an economy where its purchasing power was already diminishing. Many Filipinos remember the 2 peso coin of 1984 for its size and weight. It wasn't convenient for daily use, often bulging in wallets or pockets. Still, it was distinct and memorable. Children would sometimes keep it as a token or lucky charm, while adults often used it for larger purchases. 2 peso circulated in a politically charged period. From 1984 to 1986, the Philippines moved closer to a turning point. Protest movements gained momentum, international pressure mounted, and the legitimacy of the Marcos regime weakened. This coin thus stands as a silent witness to history, changing hands during demonstrations, family struggles, and the everyday lives of Filipinos. When the people power revolution of 1986 toppled Marcos and brought for 25 centimo coin. One finds the portrait of Juan Luna y Novicio 1857-1899, one of the greatest Filipino painters and a hero of the Philippine propaganda movement. Luna is best known for his world-famous painting Spoliarium, which won the gold medal at the Exposición Nacional de Bellas Artes in Madrid in 1884. His works and contributions to Philippine nationalism earned him a permanent place in the country's numismatic history. His presence on the coin symbolized not only artistry but also patriotism and the pursuit of national identity during the Spanish colonial period. The reverse back of the coin features the Philippine butterfly Graphium ideoides, a beautiful and rare species native to the Philippines. Including this butterfly on the coin was part of BSP's effort to raise awareness of Philippine wildlife and natural treasures. It is a symbol of biodiversity and also a gentle reminder of the need to protect the nation's environment. The butterfly imagery reflected the transition to a more modern and nature-centered coin design, which was a departure from the purely political and heroic images of previous series. The coin itself was struck in aluminum bronze, giving it a golden appearance. It measured 20 millimeters in diameter and weighed around 3.6 grams. Its edge was reeded, which made it easier to distinguish by touch from other smaller centavo coins. 1994. The Philippine economy was undergoing gradual modernization under the administration of President Fidel V. Ramos. While coins like the 25 centimo were still minted in large quantities, their use was beginning to decline in urban areas due to inflation. However, in many rural provinces, these coins remained important for everyday purchases, such as buying vegetables, candies, and small items in local sari-sari stores. 1994 also marked the final year of the Flora and Fauna series before it was replaced by the improved Flora and Fauna series, 1995 to 2000, for which featured a more polished design and modified details. Because of this, the 199-5 centimo coin is historically important. It represents the end of an era in Philippine coinage before the country transitioned into a new style of numismatics. Collectors today view the 1994 25 centimo coin as a transitional piece. While it is not particularly rare in circulated condition, well-preserved or uncirculated coins can fetch interest among numismatists, especially those collecting complete sets of the Flora and Fauna series. Coins in mint or proof-like condition are harder to find since most were used heavily in circulation during the 1990s. The 25 centimo coin also serves as a reminder of the Philippines. 1990 for 25 centimo coin begins long before its actual minting. To fully appreciate it, we must look back at how Philippine coinage evolved after independence. In 1946, when the Philippines gained full sovereignty after World War II, the country retained the peso system introduced during the American colonial period. Early post-war coins carried simple designs, highlighting the republic's sovereignty. But by the 1970s and 1980s, Philippine currency began to reflect stronger themes of nationalism, culture, and identity. The Flora and Fauna series, introduced in 1983, was a bold departure from the previous Engi Bagong Lipunan coins of President Ferdinand Marcos, which were heavily political. Instead of focusing solely on national leaders and symbols of authority, the new series balanced heroes of the nation with plants and animals, unique to the Philippines. This decision reflected not just artistry, but also a growing awareness of the country's natural heritage. At a time when environmental preservation was becoming a global concern, within this series, the 25 centimo coin was carefully chosen to feature Juan Luna, a man whose works gave Filipinos pride in their cultural identity. Luna was not only a painter but also a patriot, whose life intersected with the Philippine struggle for independence. His art, particularly Spoliarium, was more than an artistic triumph, it became a political statement, inspiring Filipinos to unite against colonial oppression. By placing Luna on the 25 centimo, the coin connected everyday transactions with the memory of a man who inspired national consciousness. The reverse side, bearing the Philippine butterfly Graphium idioides, may seem simple at first glance, but it was symbolic. Butterflies in many cultures represent transformation and renewal. For the Philippines in the 1980s and 1990s, this was especially relevant. The country was transitioning politically after the end of the Marcos dictatorship in 1986, moving toward democracy under President Corazon Aquino and later President Fidel Ramos. The butterfly was thus not only a nod to biodiversity, but also a subtle reflection of the country's transformation. 1994 was historically significant in Philippine coinage because it marked the final minting year of the original Flora and Fauna series. By then, inflation was eroding the practical value of centavo coins, but they still played a role in pricing goods in wet markets. Jeepney fares and small business transactions make exact change an essential practice in a country where every centavo mattered to working families. Economically, the Philip 2011 coin, written in a way that keeps your listeners hooked, with amazing historical context and storytelling. Today we dive into the story of the Philippine 1 peso coin from the year 2011, a piece that may look ordinary at first glance, but carries a fascinating history tied to the nation's evolving currency, its economy, and its cultural identity. As we journey through its background, you'll begin to see why this small coin reflects a much bigger picture of the Philippines in the early 21st century. The 1 peso coin of 2011 belongs to the New Generation Currency series, which was introduced by Banco Central ng Pilipinas to modernize and standardize the nation's coinage. Unlike earlier coins, this series carried updated designs that focused not only on national heroes but also on highlighting the country's rich biodiversity and natural heritage. On the obverse side of the 2011 1 peso coin, you will find the bust of Jose Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. His face has appeared on coins for decades, but in this particular series the design was sharpened and modernized. Rizal's image stands as a reminder of freedom, education, and sacrifice, making every coin a tribute to his role in Philippine history. The reverse of the coin highlights something unique, the stylized image of the wailing, a native orchid, known as the Queen of Philippine Flowers. By placing this flower on the coin, the central bank made a powerful statement, combining the heroism of Rizal with the natural beauty that represents the soul of the nation. The year 2011 was a crucial time for Philippine coinage. Prior to this, the Philippines had coins that often circulated for decades, without significant updates. The New Generation Currency program, which included the 1 peso coin, was a bold move to modernize the look, strengthen the material against counterfeiting, and create a coin set that Filipinos could identify with national pride. This particular 1 peso coin was struck in nickel-plated steel, giving it a shiny silver appearance. The material choice was practical. Nickel-plated steel is durable and cost-effective, allowing millions of coins to circulate for daily transactions without quickly wearing out. The diameter of the coin is 24 millimeters, and it carries a reeded edge. These details might seem small, but for collectors, every dimension, weight, and edge style makes a difference in distinguishing one version from another. When we look at the broader historical context, the Philippine economy in 2011 was stabilizing after years of challenges. The introduction of new coins like the 1 peso symbolized confidence in economic reforms and modernization for ordinary citizens. However, this coin was part of everyday life, used for jeepney fares, market goods, and small transactions that kept the country's bustling economy moving. But coins are never just about money, they are about memory. For many Filipinos, the 1 peso coin of 2011 evokes nostalgia, recalling rides to school, visits to the sari-sari store, or contributions dropped into a church collection box. Another important feature of this coin is its place in the collector's market. While most 2011 1 peso coins are considered common, some rare minting errors like double strikes, misaligned dies, or off-center prints have turned ordinary pocket change into highly sought-after collector items. Globally, coin collectors are fascinated by Philippine coins because they reflect a mix of colonial heritage, post-independence identity, and unique local culture. The 2011 1 piso coin is no exception. It serves as a marker of modern Philippine numismatics. One must also remember that coins serve as silent ambassadors of their country. A foreign traveler who handled this 1 piso coin in 2011 might have carried it back home, preserving a small piece of the Philippine story in their personal collection. In auctions and online platforms, ordinary 2011 1 piso coins trade for modest amounts, usually close to their face value. However, the value rises dramatically when rare errors are involved. Some unique specimens have fetched far more than expected in local auctions and among international numismatists. Another layer of significance lies in the symbolic presence of Jose Rizal. His writings, particularly Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, sparked the Philippine Revolution against Spanish rule. To see his face on every 1 piso coin of 2011 was a constant reminder of patriotism and the enduring power of knowledge. Meanwhile, the wailing flower symbolized not just natural beauty but also resilience. Endemic to Mindanao, this orchid is rare and considered sacred by some indigenous communities. Its inclusion on the coin elevated awareness of biodiversity and national treasures beyond monuments and heroes. The release of the 2011 1 piso coin also signaled a shift in design philosophy. Instead of repeating old motifs, the Bangko Sentral emphasized both modernity and culture, making the coin a symbol of the Philippines' path toward progress in the new century. Collectors today often compare the 20111 piso coin to earlier issues, noting the cleaner lines, modern fonts, and sharper imagery. These aesthetic differences highlight how currency design evolves with changing technology and tastes. What makes this coin even more intriguing is how it fits into the daily rhythm of life. While bills and larger denominations often symbolize wealth or trade, coins like the 1 piso represent the grassroots economy, the everyday exchanges that build communities and sustain livelihoods. From jeepney drivers making change to children saving coins in their piggy banks, the 2011 1 piso holds countless stories in the pockets of millions. Each coin that circulates piso coin belongs to the BSP New Design series, which was launched in 2000 as a replacement for earlier denominations. The introduction of the 10 piso coin marked a major shift in Philippine currency because it replaced the 10 peso banknote that had been in circulation for decades. The goal was to extend the life of the denomination, since coins last much longer than paper money. The late 1990s, inflation in the Philippines had reduced the value of money. The 10 peso note, which had been commonly used for jeepney fares, school allowances, and groceries, was wearing out quickly. On average, paper bills lasted less than a year before being too worn for use. Coins, however, can last decades. Thus, the BSP decided to issue the 10 piso as a bimetallic coin, making it more durable, secure, and practical. 2005 10 piso coin was bimetallic, meaning it was made from two different metals. Andres Bonifacio, the father of the Katipunan, was a revolutionary leader who sparked the 1896 Philippine Revolution against Spanish colonial rule. By pairing Mabini and Bonifacio, the coin honored two contrasting but equally important figures, the strategist and the fighter. 10 piso coin was the first Philippine coin to adopt a bimetallic design, which made it harder to counterfeit. Its unique golden ring and silver center stood out from all other denominations. This design was similar to other countries' high-value coins, like the €2 or the British £2, which also used bimetallic technology. The coin replaced the 10 peso note, which featured Mabini alone. Some Filipinos initially resisted the change, preferring paper money because it was lighter and easier to store. 2005 10 piso coin was widely circulated. Collector's value, certain conditions and varieties. Coins with errors, misaligned strikes, double dies, missing details can fetch higher prices. Complete year sets of the bimetallic 10 piso series are popular among Philippine numismatists. 20510 piso coin represents everyday life in the mid-2000s. It was the go-to coin for transportation, vending machines, and daily allowance money for students. Its distinct look and heavy feel made it stand out among other coins. 20510 piso coin remained in circulation until the BSP introduced the new generation currency coin series in 2018. The newer 10 piso coin is smaller, single-colored, and features Apolinario Mabini only, not Bonifacio. 2005 bimetallic version remains a favorite among collectors because of its unique design and symbolic pairing of two revolutionary heroes. 2005 10 peso coin stands as a marker of Philippine history in several ways. It commemorates two national heroes central to independence. It represents a modernization of Philippine currency with advanced anti-counterfeiting measures. It reflects the economic realities of the early 2000s, when inflation demanded durable coins for daily use. The Philippine 10 peso coin of 2005 is more than just money. It is a cultural art. The 2014 Philippine 25 centimo coin is part of the new generation currency NGC coin series, which was officially released into circulation by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas BSP in December 2014. This coin marks a major shift in the country's monetary design and philosophy, emphasizing national identity, heritage, and security. 2014. The Philippines had not updated its coin designs for several years. Older coins, including those from the BSP coin series, 1983 to 2017, were beginning to show signs of wear and were prone to counterfeiting. The BSP aimed to introduce a new series that would feature enhanced security features, national symbols, indigenous flora, durable materials. The 2014 25 centimo coin was released as part of the first wave of the NGC coin series. The new coins had simpler and more modern design. The year marked 2014, a clean and minimalistic layout. Juan Luna 1857 to 1899 was a Filipino painter and revolutionary. His masterpiece Spoliarium became a symbol of resistance and pride, and he was deeply involved in the Philippine struggle for independence. The reverse side of the coin shows an image of the Catmandillania philippinensis flower, a native plant of the Philippines. The denomination 25 centimo, the official logo of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. The catman tree produces large, attractive flowers and is a symbol of biodiversity and native pride in the archipelago. The change from brass to nickel-plated steel reflects BSP's goal to reduce production costs while maintaining coin integrity, while worth only 0.25 php. The 25 centimo coin is essential for exact transactions, especially in public transport, market exchanges, vending machines. Despite its low value, it remains in daily use, particularly among coin-operated services. Each coin in the NGC series is symbolic. For the 25 centimo, Juan Luna represents nationalism and the power of art in revolution. Catman flower reflects the country's natural wealth. Minimalist design aligns with international standards for clarity and security. Upon release, some users criticized the similar appearance of lower denomination coins 1, 5, 10, and 25 centimo. Difficulty in distinguishing coins due to uniform color and size. However, collectors and nationalists appreciated the modern feel and patriotic elements traded among numismatists interested in the full NGC series. The NGC series continued with future updates and remains the current circulating coinage in the Philippines. The 2014 25 centimo coin stands as a milestone of modernization and cultural celebration in Philippine currency history. The 2014 Philippine 25 centimo coin is far more than just loose change. It represents a conscious shift by the Philippines to honor its heroes, preserve its environment, and protect its economy with modern design and security. Through Juan Luna and the Catman flower, the coin embodies both the nation's storied past and its hope for a resilient future. The 25 centimo denomination has existed in various forms since the early 1900s during American colonial rule. However, its modern journey began in the 1970s, as during the Filipino and Angie Bagong Lipunan Abacoinageras, and continued through Filipino Series 1967-1974, featuring Filipino heroes like Juan Luna in brass or bronze alloys. Able Series 1975 to 1983, reinforcing Marcos regime with updated inscriptions. BSP Series 1995 to 17, showcasing the BSP seal. These were mass-produced and widely circulated. The 2014 version reintroduces Juan Luna, who also appeared on older coinage, bridging historical continuity with modern aesthetics. Juan Luna is not only famous for his paintings but also for his active role in the propaganda movement. Alongside Jose Rizal and Marcelo H. del Pilar, he was a passionate advocate for reform under Spanish colonial rule and used his art to express nationalist sentiments. By placing him on the 25 centimo coin, The BSP highlighted the role of intellectuals and artists in shaping Philippine identity, an uncommon but powerful choice for such a low denomination. The Catman flower de Linnea philippinensis is native to the Philippines and rarely highlighted in public symbols. Its inclusion on the coin promotes ecological awareness, supports efforts to highlight indigenous plant species, emphasizes the beauty of local biodiversity. Catman is also a medicinal plant, traditionally used to treat coughs and stomach problems, tying the coin to the country's indigenous knowledge and healing practices. The 25 centimo coin, while small in monetary value, plays a critical role in low-value transactions, especially in public jeepney fares, traditional wet markets, palanquis, rural areas, where change is often scarce. Its consistent circulation keeps the microeconomy functioning, especially among low-income Filipinos. The 2014 coins were minted by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Security Plant Complex, located in Quezon City. BSP emphasized high-quality minting processes, uniform weights and sizes to meet modern vending and sorting machine standards. The use of 25 centimo coin follows a global design trend, cleaner lines and fewer elements, easy-to-read text for all ages, avoiding clutter that could lead to counterfeiting. This approach mirrors international coin designs in countries like Canada, Australia, and European nations. 2014, inflation had significantly reduced the real purchasing power of coins, like the 25 centimo. Still, BSP kept them in circulation to maintain correct change availability, preserve economic accuracy in pricing, avoid rounding errors in small transactions. However, some businesses started refusing 25 centimo coins, creating debates around legal tender laws and coin acceptance. The BSP and DEEP used the 2014 coin series in financial literacy campaigns, school